stupid arrogance, entitlement, racism, sexism will fly. I
don't like Angel Reese. She's just bad news. She's just an angry feminist. She may marry Brittany Griner at some point. Who knows? I find Angel Reese completely unlikable.
Angel Reese's lies just got exposed, and this time, there's no coming back.
I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA and the NBA. I don't really think that's fair.
Caitlin Clark, and I'm going to tell you, very solid answer, because she's asked about comparing the WNBA to the NBA. She doesn't agree with Angel Reese.
Because I'm hearing they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, we sit out.
That's a possibility.
Angel Reese wants credit. The reason why WNBA is up is because of Angel Reese. She's not getting enough credit. She did this too. She taunted Caitlin Clark. She made this whole thing.
Caitlin Clark didn't just set the record straight, she destroyed Reese's entire narrative, leaving her career in shambles. For months, Reese has tried to twist the story, acting like she's the reason for the WNBA's rise, claiming she deserves more money, more attention, and more respect.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
I guarantee you, the intelligent folks, and there are plenty in the WNBA, are saying, will you two idiots just shut up? Sit out.
And isn't she shooting 35% from the field? Can somebody tell me who in the world watches a 35% shooter from the paint that is basically grabbing her own rebounds from her own missed shots?
But the truth? The numbers don't lie. Clark is the real reason the WNBA is seeing record-breaking viewership, skyrocketing ticket sales, and mainstream media coverage like never before. And now, with cold, hard facts on her side, Clark has shut down every excuse, every complaint, and every desperate attempt by Reese to stay relevant.
When the Ion Network is drawing 1 million views off of a WNBA game, you know something has changed. You got one player in this league that is doing that. Caitlin Clark, that's it.
So what exactly did Clark say that left Reese's career in ruins? Let's break it all down. Angel Reese has spent months pushing a narrative that just doesn't hold up, claiming she's just as responsible as Caitlin Clark for the WNBA's explosion in popularity.
That's who everybody has tuned into, is Caitlin Clark. It is not anybody else.
If Angel Reese came into the league without Caitlin Clark, nobody would know who Dijon Carrington was, her sidekick, or no one would know who Angel Reese is.
She's insisted that without her, the league wouldn't be where it is today. But the facts? They tell a completely different story, and Caitlin Clark just exposed the truth in a way that left no room for debate. It all started when Reese went on her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, and made a bold claim: WNBA players, including herself, deserve way more money. She even went as far as to suggest that if the league didn't meet their demands, players were willing to sit out.
Tell these idiots to shut up, stand down, because their threats are meaningless to the average viewer. Meaningless.
There's no accountability for black female feminists. They can say anything, and if you criticize it, you're racist. Period. End of story.
If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out, she said, as if she had the power to shake the league to its core. The problem? Reese doesn't seem to understand how business works. The WNBA isn't profitable. It never has been. The league has survived for nearly 3 decades only because the NBA subsidizes it. And yet, here she was, acting like she had leverage, threatening a lockout as if the WNBA would crumble without her.
If I was funding this league, I'd say, all right, hold on. You got a golden goose. We all got one in Caitlin Clark. These people that are criticizing Caitlin Clark, these people that are hitting Caitlin Clark, these people that are talking as if they are as important as Caitlin Clark are hurting our opportunity. They're hurting the brand.
Will Caitlin Clark ever be paid by the WNBA what she's worth? I don't think that's possible.
Then came Caitlin Clark. In a single statement, she dismantled Reese's argument entirely. Speaking at a public event, Clark was asked about the comparison between WNBA and NBA salaries, a topic Reese had been complaining about nonstop. Instead of playing the victim, Clark delivered a response so logical, so undeniable, that it left Reese's entire argument in pieces. I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't think that's fair.
The WNBA star was speaking at the 2025 cardiovascular research event and was asked for her opinion on the gap between the two leagues. For Caitlin Clark, comparisons between the leagues is pointless. Somebody's got a brain.
With that one sentence, Clark wiped out every excuse players like Reese had been making. The reality is simple. The NBA and WNBA are not the same. The NBA generates billions through media deals, sponsorships, and massive global audiences.
This league has never turned a profit. 28-year existence of this women's pro basketball league, it has been kept afloat because of the subsidization of the NBA, keeping it alive. Otherwise, it would have died a long time ago, and Caitlin Clark would have never had a chance to straighten out the league. Now, Caitlin Clark has beaten some of those NBA ratings, but they're still better than the majority of all WNBA games. What, the NBA Finals still drew maybe 7 million or something like that? The NBA plays roughly twice as many games. There is still a significant gap.
The WNBA, despite being around for nearly 3 decades, still struggles to turn a profit. Comparing their salaries is pointless when the revenue gap is this massive. And here's where Clark completely shut down Reese's entitlement. Instead of demanding more money for herself, she focused on solutions. She talked about how incredible the WNBA's growth already is and how the focus should be on building the league, not forcing unrealistic pay increases.
You lost 40, 50 million. You know who would clap for you all sitting out? The NBA. So they don't have to subsidize your dumbasses to the tune of 40 to 50 million a year.
If you understand supply and demand, if you understand television ratings, if you understand media rights deals, if you got common sense, there's no reason for a WNBA player to ever in life compare the WNBA to the NBA.
I think where the WNBA is right now is pretty incredible. Most people wouldn't believe we'd even be at this point. And the sky's the limit. That's the difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. One understands that money follows impact, not entitlement. The other? She's too busy complaining to realize that the only reason she's even in this conversation is because of Clark.
I'm not huge on comparing the WNBA and the NBA. I don't really think that's fair. Obviously, I think where the WNBA is right now is pretty incredible. I think a lot of people, or most people, would not believe it's in the place that it is right now. So I think when people always ask me this question, where I think it'll be in 5 years, is it's hard for me to answer because people didn't even think we'd be right here, right now. And I think really sky's the limit. I think when you see, our TV numbers when we're on, national television, we're averaging over 1 million viewers or whatever it is. The All-Star game, I think, was over 4 million viewers. It's just really great numbers. So the more opportunities we're given, I think the more it's going to shine and get better and better. I think also the talent level in college is continuing to get a lot better, and as those players come into the league, and it's going to continue to improve. We're adding 2 new teams next year, and then probably another team year after that.
Some more games.
Yeah, more games, which I think will be good. It will lengthen the season a little bit more.
But here's the real kicker. While Clark is out here making rational points, bringing in millions of viewers, and proving her worth every single game, Reese is doing the exact opposite. She's shooting below 40%, padding her stats with her own missed rebounds, and spending more time making demands than actually delivering results.
You'd actually, if you really want to go into business, you need to pay some money back. You made absolutely nothing. You haven't really enhanced the league. Caitlin Clark has.
We have to be completely honest about this, whether we like it or not. 90% of this revived or renewed interest is really based around one singular player.
And yet, she expects NBA-level paychecks. So the real question is, if Angel Reese really believes she deserves more, why isn't she proving it on the court? Because as Caitlin Clark just made clear, in sports, you earn what you bring in. And right now, Reese isn't bringing in much of anything. If Angel Reese was hoping to convince the world that she's just as important as Caitlin Clark, the numbers tell a completely different story.
That's the reason that a lot of these new players from these other teams decided to join her, because guess what? Every time they play a game, 3 to 3.5 times more people will be watching them than they were prior.
The truth is brutal. Clark is the sole reason the WNBA is experiencing record-breaking success, while Reese is just along for the ride. And now, after months of pushing false narratives, the evidence is stacking up against Reese, proving that without Clark, her career would be irrelevant. Let's start with the cold, hard facts. Before Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, the league was struggling to get even 500,000 viewers per game.
We deserve more, everybody, but we have to face the consequences. The women coming in next year are probably going to make more than us. I got to get in the meetings because I'm hearing if y'all don't give us what we want, we're sitting out. Of course, Dejanay said, yeah, that's a possibility for real. That was kind of a possibility on the last one.
She just threatened the lockout. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. This is why sometimes you probably should have somebody look over a podcast. She's threatening to go on strike. I actually understand it's the way negotiations work in the CBA, not on a podcast.
Networks like ESPN barely prioritized WNBA coverage, ticket sales were stagnant, and most people didn't even know when games were happening. But then Clark arrived and everything changed. Suddenly, WNBA games were drawing over 1 million viewers, surpassing even NBA games at times. Games featuring Clark's Indiana Fever team have become must-watch events, with ESPN, CBS, and other networks scrambling to air as many of them as possible.
I mean, you want to grow the game? All right, grow the game. All I'm saying is if you want to play in the big leagues, if you want to be somebody that transcends the game, you got to have a personality. I will give Angel Reese this. She has a personality. It's ignorance. It's stupid. I mean, it's really stupid.
And ticket sales? They've skyrocketed. Indiana Fever tickets, which used to be easy to get for a few bucks, are now selling at NBA-level prices, all because of one player, Caitlin Clark. Opposing teams have even started moving their games to bigger arenas just to accommodate the demand. The Chicago Sky had to relocate their game against the Fever to the United Center, which holds 3 times more fans than their usual arena. That game sold out, not because of Angel Reese, not because of any other WNBA star, because of Caitlin Clark.
Instead, people are saying, look, morons, you're just morons. And the more you talk, the dumber you sound. I hate to say it.
Meanwhile, where does Angel Reese fit into all of this? Nowhere.
I will continue to use my voice to speak for what we want and deserve as a league. Thank you. No, that's not what you did. You said me, I. They're going to get more than us. I deserve more, blah, blah, blah. Oh, shut up.
Despite all her talk about being a star, the numbers don't support her claims. Her individual performances have been mediocre at best, with poor shooting percentages and a style of play that relies on grabbing her own missed shots to boost her stats.
I guarantee you, people that are actually going to be at the negotiating table are saying right now this word. Will you shut up?
Even her most dedicated fans can't deny that her actual impact on the league is minimal compared to Clark's. And yet Reese has the audacity to demand more money and respect. She claims she's a major reason for the WNBA's popularity surge, but let's be honest. If Caitlin Clark hadn't joined the league, no one would be talking about Angel Reese right now. Her rivalry with Clark is the only thing keeping her name relevant.
And I have a suggestion for you. Don't sit out. You have a real opportunity right now. The only time, think about it, baseball is going to go away on ESPN. ESPN is pushing women's sports like never before. Instead of having every single person with a reasonable mind say, look, morons, nobody's going to miss you. This is your time. Take advantage of it.
The media may try to hype her up, but the truth is clear. Reese isn't driving ticket sales, she's not boosting TV ratings, and she's not the one attracting millions of new fans to the league. Even her biggest supporters should be asking, what exactly has Angel Reese done to deserve more money? What historic records has she broken? What massive audience has she brought in? The answer is simple. None. The only reason she's in the spotlight is because she played against Clark in college, and she's been riding that wave ever since.
Beats the hell out of watching Angel Reese miss free throws and layups and throw the ball off the underneath of the backboard and not know the rules. Stop it, stupid.
But here's the reality Reese refuses to admit. If she left the WNBA tomorrow, nothing would change. Ticket sales wouldn't drop, TV ratings wouldn't decline, and no one outside of her fan base would even notice. But if Caitlin Clark left, the entire WNBA would collapse overnight.
She says she is focused on how the WNBA can keep growing. I'm not huge, on comparing the WNBA to the NBA. I don't think that's fair. I think where the WNBA right now is pretty incredible. I think most people would not believe it's in the place it's in right now. When people keep asking those questions of where I believe it's going to be in 5 years, the answer is people didn't even think we'd be where we are right now. And I think really the sky's the limit. Clark's comments come after Angel Reese was the subject of intense social media scrutiny after she threatened to boycott WNBA games if the league does not meet the players' demands.
That's why Clark is getting the endorsements, the media attention, and the respect, while Reese is left making empty demands. And that's exactly why Reese is trying so hard to take credit for the WNBA's success. Because deep down, she knows the truth. She needs Caitlin Clark to stay relevant, but Clark doesn't need her at all. At this point, Angel Reese is running out of ways to keep herself in the spotlight. With Caitlin Clark dominating headlines, shattering records, and proving every single game why she's the true face of the WNBA, Reese has found herself in an uncomfortable position, being left behind, and instead of stepping up her game or finding ways to contribute to the league's growth, she's resorting to desperate, attention-seeking tactics that are not only failing but actively damaging her reputation.
Dejanay Carrington, you wouldn't even know who she was if she didn't try to beat up Caitlin Clark in a game. You wouldn't even know, but these two clowns got together as the dumbest people in sports and saying, wait for it, they need more money, threatening to hold out if they don't get what they want.
For months, Reese has tried to convince everyone that she's a key factor in the WNBA's success. She's gone on multiple media tours, repeatedly inserting herself into discussions about Clark as if their so-called rivalry is what's drawing in millions of new fans. But here's the reality. No one is tuning in to watch Angel Reese. They're tuning in to watch Clark. And the only reason Reese's name even stays in the conversation is because she refuses to stop talking about Clark.
Angel Reese is the most unskilled basketball player in the history of basketball, in my opinion. She has no skills. She knows that she's not a very good basketball player. That's why she spends so much time half naked and taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball.
This is Angel Reese, the content creator side. It's pretty clear basketball is her top priority. I cannot imagine how anybody could view this athlete in any other way. It's clear basketball is front and foremost. This is all helping with things like shooting better from the field and missing layups. She has no rhythm, just like she can't make a layup. Practice layups. OnlyFans incoming.
But it's not just the media attention she's chasing, it's the money. Reese has been extremely vocal about how she and other WNBA players deserve massive salary increases, ignoring the basic economics of the situation. She even went so far as to publicly threaten a lockout, telling her podcast audience that if the league doesn't meet their salary demands, she and other players will simply refuse to play. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. Let's break down how absolutely ridiculous that statement is. First, the WNBA has never been profitable, not once. In nearly 3 decades of existence, the league has never generated enough revenue to sustain itself. It only survives because the NBA subsidizes its losses every single year.
The WNBA is currently in talks with the Women's National Basketball Association, PA, over a new CBA. The union is looking to dramatically increase salaries for its players and close the gap with the NBA. It's not going to come close. Right now, a minimum WNBA contract is $64,154 per year, while the NBA is $1,160,000, and I'm shocked.
Without the NBA's financial backing, the WNBA would have collapsed long ago. Yet, here's Angel Reese, acting as if she and her teammates hold all the power, completely blind to the fact that the league does not have the money to meet her unrealistic demands. Second, Reese is in no position to make threats. She's not even on the WNBPA, Women's National Basketball Players Association Board, meaning she has no authority to speak on behalf of the league's players. The fact that she felt comfortable making such a bold claim without any strategic planning or negotiation backing it up just proves how out of touch she is. And third, a lockout would only hurt the WNBA players, not the owners, not the NBA, and certainly not Caitlin Clark. If Reese and others actually went through with a sit-out, do you know what would happen? The league would move on without them. Networks and sponsors aren't paying for Angel Reese, they're paying for Caitlin Clark.
A new CBA is set to go into effect in 2026, and Reese said on her Unapologetically Angel podcast that players could skip games if negotiations fall apart. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out.
Fans aren't buying tickets to watch Reese complain about salaries. They're filling arenas to see Clark change the game. So if Reese and her allies want to walk away, the WNBA would barely notice. In fact, owners might even welcome it, since it would mean fewer salaries to pay while they continue profiting off Clark's star power. And let's be honest, most of the WNBA's current roster can't afford to sit out. Unlike NBA players who make millions and have financial security, many WNBA players rely on their seasonal paychecks just to make ends meet. The idea that they could afford to miss an entire season for a lockout? It's laughable.
But that didn't stop WNBA players and head morons, head haters, head racists, head sexists, Angel Reese and her sidekick, Dejanay Carrington, from going on a podcast. And when these two go on a podcast, you know what's going to happen. You got a duck. They're more stupid. I guarantee you, those women, the intelligent ones, the one that have a brain, the one that are actually going to sit down and do this, are saying to Angel Reese, shut up, take off your clothes, show your ass, talk about how Hollywood stars want to date you, and move it along. Let us handle this. And you just keep being stupid and work on your layup.
But Reese's desperation doesn't stop at salary complaints. She's also been repeatedly trying to position herself as Clark's equal, despite the overwhelming evidence that they are not even in the same league, figuratively or literally. She's attempted to play up their so-called rivalry, acting as if she's a key reason why WNBA games are drawing record-breaking ratings. Just recently, she made a comment that had fans shaking their heads. It's not just one person. I had something to do with this too. Really? Because if you take a look at the WNBA's most watched games, the highest rated matchups, and the ticket sales surge, there's one common factor. Caitlin Clark. Reese's numbers tell the real story. While Clark is leading the league in viewership, endorsements, and fan engagement, Reese is struggling to make an impact. Her performance on the court has been underwhelming at best, shooting under 40%, failing to deliver clutch performances, and relying on media hype to keep her name relevant.
I cannot believe this is actually a clip that somebody put out to try to make her look good. This makes her look terrible. I'm shocked. That was pathetic. And then finally, she makes the layup. We're celebrating that? Really? Taller than hell out there. Can't hit a layup. Get in the lab, shoot 200 layups a day, every single 365 days. Is there anybody else in the WNBA or NBA that does this more than Reese? From tonight's game, third quarter, in 16 seconds, Reese took 4 shots, missed the first 3 shots, got an offensive rebound off her own 3 misses, and then finally made the 4th. But, quote, double-double, this looks just like Chicago Sky shit from last year. This dude's a white dude. He's getting called a racist over basketball criticism.
Meanwhile, Clark is out here breaking records, proving her worth every game and elevating the entire league in a way no one has before. And this is where Reese's desperate attempts start to backfire. Instead of focusing on improving her own game and earning her place as a true WNBA star, she's obsessed with trying to take credit for Clark's success. She's constantly inserting herself into conversations that have nothing to do with her, trying to frame herself as an equally important figure in the league's growth. But the public isn't buying it. Fans see through the act. Even casual sports viewers can tell that Caitlin Clark is the one making history. They're tuning in to see her, not Reese. And the more Reese tries to force this narrative that she's just as impactful, the more people are realizing the truth. She's a side character in Clark's story, not the main event. And let's not forget the biggest irony of all. Angel Reese is directly benefiting from Caitlin Clark's success. Before Clark joined the WNBA, the league was fighting for any form of media coverage. Salaries were stagnant and players had very little mainstream recognition. Now, thanks to Clark's record-breaking popularity, Reese and other WNBA players are making more money, getting bigger endorsement deals, and gaining national exposure they never had before. Instead of being grateful for the direct financial benefits she's receiving because of Clark, Reese is choosing to attack her, dismiss her contributions, and demand even more money that she hasn't earned. It's entitlement at its worst.
You got to see this clip. Runs down court with the basketball, 3-4 steps ahead of everybody, has an easy layup, and throws it to the girl behind her. No skills.
So Lexi Hull's right here, right? She's going to come out here. She gets the ball, going to pass it into Angel. Look at this, folks. That's Lexi Hull. Wide ass open. Does she get the ball? Angel not only did not pass the ball back out to Lexi Hull, but she missed another freaking layups.
But here's the harshest truth of all. If Angel Reese wants to be paid like a star, she needs to start playing like one. If she truly believes she's on Caitlin Clark's level, then the answer is simple. Prove it. Bring in the millions of viewers, sell out arenas, break records, make people want to watch you. But as it stands right now, Angel Reese's career is defined by one thing: Caitlin Clark. She's not the reason the WNBA is thriving. She's not the reason people are watching. And no matter how many times she tries to claim otherwise, Caitlin Clark already exposed the truth. Reese's attempts to take credit for Clark's success aren't just failing, they're making her look even more desperate. And with every game that passes, every record Clark breaks, and every headline Clark dominates, Reese fades further and further into irrelevance. And that's why, when the history books are written about this era of the WNBA, one name will stand above the rest: Caitlin Clark. At this point, the debate is over. Caitlin Clark has completely exposed Angel Reese's lies, and there's no coming back from it. Reese tried to act like she was just as responsible for the WNBA's rise, but the numbers tell a different story. Clark is the one breaking records, driving ratings, and transforming the league, while Reese is doing nothing but making empty demands and riding Clark's coattails. The reality is simple. If Reese left the WNBA tomorrow, no one would care. But if Clark walked away, the entire league would crumble. That's the difference between someone who brings value and someone who just talks about it. Reese can keep making excuses, keep pushing false narratives, and keep pretending she's on Clark's level, but fans see the truth. Clark has the respect, the impact, and the legacy. And Reese? She's just a side character desperately trying to hold on to relevance. So now the question is, how much longer can Angel Reese keep up this act before even her own supporters stop believing it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates.